that we were going to show up. Things have gone too far.
Too fast.
And too fast. Thank you. Thank you all for joining us and standing together to demand immediate action from the New York City Department of Transportation to relocate the Sims concrete recycling facility. And we want this site to be shut down immediately. I'm Council Member Shahana Hanif. I represent the Columbia Waterfront neighborhood in the City Council. I'm joined by Assemblymember Simon, Brooklyn Community Board 6 Chair Mike Rassiopo. We will be joined by Senator Granardis, and we have reps from our Congressman Goldman's office who will all speak. And of course, our neighbors, our residents who've lived here, worked here, have ridden their bike here, are all here to speak, who you will hear from. This facility, to give some context, opened without warning back in February, with no notice to residents, businesses, or elected officials. Since then, the impacts have been devastating. I have heard from my constituents every single day without exception. Neighbors have reported a dangerous increase in truck traffic, constant noise, and vibrations that shake their homes. But most troubling of all, the dust pollution from this facility has been coating our homes, our vehicles, and our streets for months. And this is wrong. This is not just an inconvenience, this is a health crisis. As an elected official, it is my responsibility to ensure that the concerns of our community are heard. I cannot and we cannot allow this situation to continue. During my site visit in July, I was reassured that the site was being regularly sprayed with water to contain the dust.
No way.
It's clear that that was not happening. And given the high winds and extreme dryness, we know that this facility needs to be shut down, because no matter what they spray on this site, it will not protect this community. We are still waiting for meaningful action, and most importantly, a plan, a concrete plan to shut down this facility and relocate out of a residential neighborhood. Let me remind everyone that facilities like this are supposed to be in designated industrial or manufacturing sites, not adjacent to neighbors or schools, parks, you name it. This is a residential neighborhood. What is happening is unjust, and there are no excuses. The community is ready and willing to work with the Department of Transportation. We recognize that the concrete facility is an important part of our city sustainability efforts. We get it. But this work has to take place in a manufacturing zone, not here, not at the cost of people's lives. The health and well-being of our diverse community, young and old, families, our beloved animals, are on the line. And we cannot afford to ignore the risks any longer. You will hear from my colleagues and the Columbia Waterfront neighbors, particularly the BMT Neighbors Alliance. We thank you for joining us this morning. Let's do the chant one more time. Move the facility.
Protect our community.
Move the facility.
Protect our community.
Move the facility.
Protect our community.
I'd like to now call up Leah Carroll, who is a part of the Brooklyn Marine Terminal Neighbors Alliance.
Speakers, I'm going to be timekeeping. I'm going to do 2, 1, and then hold. We're going to try to hold people to 2 minutes so that everyone can get it.
Thank you, Council Member Hanif, and thank you everybody who came out here in the rain. You're amazing. This is why Columbia Waterfront is so special. My name is Leah Carroll. I live on Tiffany Place, which is just one block over that way. My neighbor, John Leva, maybe some of you know him. He says it's the best block in Brooklyn. I can't really disagree with John. But the real reason I'm here is because we want the cement recycling facility shut down. And we want it relocated not to another residential facility or to another residential neighborhood, but to an industrial facility where this belongs. I'm here as a resident. I'm here as a constituent. I'm here as a human being who, like everyone, deserves to breathe clean air. I'm also here as a mom, and we have a lot of kids in this neighborhood. When I was 4 years old, my mom was murdered, and that means that I bounced around from house to neighborhood, and I didn't have a home for a long time. And I promised that if I ever got lucky, I'm going to raise her in one place, and she was going to grow up in a neighborhood that she felt safe in, Columbia Street Waterfront neighborhood. And she's 5 now. This is where she's going to grow up. We put down roots. We aren't going anywhere. The kids in this neighborhood live in a very special place. They know each other. They know the shopkeepers. They know the names of all the neighborhood dogs. Some of you will see that they made signs today because they want to have fresh air. And kids can't speak for themselves. We have to be their advocate. Which is why I'm here once again to demand that this facility shut down, because our kids are not safe and we have to speak for them. The facility is releasing carcinogen and pollution 24 hours a day. There is no remediation. What we do see and what you can see standing here is a pile of toxic material, a street so ensnared by industrial truck traffic that it takes and the rerouting of the BQE, that it takes sometimes 20 minutes on the B61, the only mass transportation out of Red Hook. 20 minutes to go 2 blocks. That's unacceptable, and that has doubled with this. We do. Yep, and this is contributing to it. How long do we put up with us before one of us and maybe more of our children is injured when the trucks and the cars ignore red lights and crosswalks and wrapping up? My daughter goes to PS29. When the winds pick up, you better believe that the wind patterns blow that dust right up over the bridge. There's a pre-K center being built just a few blocks away. There are playgrounds here. There are daycare centers here. I don't know why the concrete plant was put here, but I would wager it's because they thought nobody would notice. Who notices the neighborhood on the other side of the BQE? We do. We notice.
That's right.
So I want Mayor Adams, who I'm talking directly to, hello Mayor Adams, the DOT, hi DOT, and everyone else in putting this toxic facility in our neighborhood to be put on notice that our voices in the Columbia Street waterfront matter, and that what we're saying is very simple. Shut it down.
Thank you, Leah. And thank you for emphasizing safety. Further appalling is that the Brooklyn Marine Terminal project is underway. And this lack of transparency, which is not new in this community, how are we supposed to trust that the BMT project is going to serve this community? Nothing has been transparent. There has been no accountability. I'd like to do a chant. What do we want? You'll say, shut it down. When do we want it? Now. What do we want?
Shut it down.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Shut it down.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Shut it down.
When do we want it?
Now.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to now call Assemblymember Joanne Simon to share her thoughts.
Thank you, Council Member. So I'm Assemblymember Joanne Simon, and I have the honor of representing the Columbia Street Waterfront District in the State Assembly. You're welcome. I want to join this call to shut this facility down. Every conversation we've had indicates that they're trying to be responsive. They have, wet the facility, sprinkled, the pile of stuff. But the reality is, it doesn't appear that they're doing that because the impacts are clear, because everybody is noticing them. So if they are doing it, it's not working. So really, it's not working. Well, okay. So we can debate whether they're doing it. You're right. If they're not doing it, they should be doing it. But in fact, it's not going to work anyway. It's not enough. And so we know this. We had a sand pile years ago, and the sand blew across. Remember that? It was a complete mess. So did we not learn from the sand blowing across the street and messing with everybody's lives there for a long time, that this would happen with particulate matter? So those of you who are involved with the Brooklyn Marine Terminal, we're going to be going through an environmental impact statement process, and also, of course, our friend the BQE. And one of the things that you have to really monitor very closely and ensure is not going to be a negative impact, and that's particulate matter. And so particulate matter are things like silica, like little bits, right? And they get into your lungs. And when they get into your lungs, they don't get out. And so particulate matter is one of the worst offenders for human health. And when you think about all the children in this area and those of the folks who are a little bit older, they're much more vulnerable to particulate matter, but it affects everybody. And we want our kids to grow up with vital capacity that they should have, not marred by particulate matter in their growing up years. The other thing I wanted to mention, and I did make a note of it, but I can't always see what my notes say. Sorry about that. Okay. The dust. Yes. Yes, the dust, right? That's particulate matter too. And I'm glad that PS29 was mentioned, because that is like way over there and nobody thought of it. So why do they put these facilities here? Because there is a tendency in New York State to put everything on the waterfront. If we don't like it, if it's noxious, let's put it on the waterfront. The reality is, when that waterfront is right across the street from homes, it's a totally inappropriate use, right? So it's a very common thing that we do. But the other thing is, let me remind everybody that New York State, the voters voted in a constitutional amendment for the right to clean air, clean water, and a healthful environment. And nothing about this facility complies with that constitutional right that you all have, right? So, A, dangerous and harmful to people, and 2, illegal. Thank you.
Thank you, Assemblymember Simon. And I really want to just lift up the local electeds here, the overlapping electeds. We're all on the same page about shutting this facility down, and that is an important part of us escalating to today and further pushing the administration at the top, to the mayor, to the first deputy mayor, to shut this facility down. I'd now like to invite John Leva. Hey, John. Who I've known for many years, a leader, fierce, a fighter. Thank you so much for your continued advocacy.
A few wars, right? A few battles. What do we want?
Shut it down!
What do we want?
Shut it down!
What do we want?
Shut it down!
That's right. That's right. And I mean, I don't even know what else is to say. I've already said a lot on social media. Right now, right, we've been through all the agencies, this agency, that agency, talking to this one, to that one. We're talking directly to Eric Adams right now. The buck stops with him. Whoever decided that this belonged here should be fired. I mean, who didn't have the foresight to look at a map and say, well, there's people across the street. What about them? If you look at the awning across the street, look how dirty that awning is. We're breathing that in. When I do the videos with the cars and all the dust of the cars, unfortunately today it's raining so you can't see it. That's in our lungs, and it's on our kids' lungs. Look at these beautiful signs the kids wrote. I love clean air. Like, you know, and yeah, it's all over. No, it's all over. But forget your window. It's in our lungs. That's the problem. We're breathing this stuff in. We don't know how long it's going to take to affect us, and we have to it's not only just about this, but this is the first step. As they redevelop this site, we just got to be involved and make sure that it's something that we can live with. You know, because no disrespect to you guys, but politicians come and go. Except for Joanne, you'll be here forever. Everybody else is going to term out, it's term out or whatever. They come and go, even if they're well-meaning. Developers come and they, make their money and then leave. But we have to live with whatever is done here. So I don't want to take it into that, but this is just the first step. And this just really shows really bad. It's just a bad taste, literally, in everybody's mouth, because you can taste it. On a windy day, and we've had so many dry days, and this has just been flying all over. And honestly, even because here's the problem. It was never going to work, because just being that it's a temporary site, according to them, 2 years or whatever, they're not going to invest the money in the dust mitigation protocols that we would need here for a long-term facility. That's costly. You're not going to build all that up and then tear it down in 2 years. So this was never a good idea. Never, ever, ever. And, they just thought that we were just going to just look the other way. And here we are. We're not going to look the other way. We're going to fight this back. And so what do we want?
Shut it down!
What do we want?
Shut it down!
What do we want?
Shut it down!
When?
Now!
All right, Eric Adams, listen. This is on you.
Thank you, John. That's right.
How do we do it?
We'll get to that. I'd now like to invite Althea Craig Morelli, who's a neighbor and present with us today.
Hi, everyone. Hi. I've been here for a while, the last 11 years, and I would have to say I see no accountability as far as the agencies are concerned. They are not checking the air quality. My health has been affected within the last couple of months just breathing this stuff, and I'm looking for another place to move to, because I just can't. This is not acceptable. My life is on the line here. In the meantime, I'm seeing more doctors and more things that are going wrong with me, and it wasn't happening before. And the older I get, the more things are showing up, and it's like, this wasn't happening before. They start doing all the drilling and all the stuff that's in the air. It's not fair to us. They knew it wasn't ever going to be fair to us, and you know what that really means. That's an FU. Okay, so you don't need to say it, but that's what it means. You can read the writing on the wall.
That's right.
Yeah. And basically, they need to. What's the air quality here? Does anybody know? Are they ever going to say? I don't even open my windows anymore.
Here, hold the mic closer.
No, I can't open my windows anymore because I see the particles that come in.
Hold the mic closer.
I see the particles that come in with, and this is during the summer, I think.
Did you guys start on time?
Like, why is this so dusty? Why is it so? And I said, okay, this is not working. We'll close the windows and we'll just use the fan and the air conditioning. That's not a good solution either, but you do what you can do until you can do better. But yeah, I don't open my windows. It's not safe. Shut it down. Shut it down.
Shut it down. Shut it down.
Now. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Althea. No one should have to live with the anxiety of moving. Absolutely no one should be living with that anxiety at all. I'd now like to invite Senator Gennardis to the mic.
Thank you, Shahana.
Yeah.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
You know, we tried this the easy way. We tried working with the city. We tried to be collaborative. We said, look, we want to work with you to solve this problem. And it's just frankly taking way too damn long. And there is no reason for this continued insistence that we'll get to this in the future. We'll get to this later. We'll get to this eventually. Eventually is now. Eventually is right now. There's a reason why we call this whole stretch of highway and neighborhoods on Southwest Brooklyn Asthma Alley, because the air quality here is already bad. We know that people are already suffering from respiratory illnesses, from asthma. How many kids in this neighborhood have breathing issues? And we are now compounding that with this plant continuing to operate the way it is. Their efforts so far have failed. Their efforts so far are not good enough. And so the only option left for us, the only option left for the city is to do what?
Shut it down!
Couldn't hear you. To do what?
Shut it down!
No, they didn't hear you on the other side of the Brooklyn Bridge. Do what?
Shut it down!
Thank you, Senator Gennardis. What do we want? Clean air. When do we want it now? What do we want?
Clean air!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Clean air!
What do we want?
Now!
What do we want?
Clean air!
When do we want it?
Now!
When do we want it?
Now!
I'd now like to invite William Bertel and Molly Pearson.
Yeah!
So we live right there. So we have lived in that apartment for 10 and a half years. And we have a front row seat to everything that is not happening in terms of any kind of mitigation. Occasionally we watch someone do a little dinky water spray over there, but there's really nothing happening. We did call someone from the Department of Environmental Protection who came over, done countless calls to the DOT, and have been fortunate enough to be in touch with our elected officials who are here today. There were some signs that were put up after the Department of Environmental Protections came in. They looked at all of our pictures. They said, wow, this is really bad. You have to call us when the dust is blowing so we can come and help. That's a little tricky when you work full time and have 2 kids. We also do not open our windows. It's horrific. It's scary. The kids who can read the signs and know what's happening are looking to us to obviously take care of the air that they're breathing. And the added fun fact for us is that our building shakes to such a tremendous degree. We've had to have the architect come in and look at it. It's terrifying. We can't sleep at night.
Yeah, I mean, two things that the dust is definitely a thing. Also, for the people on this block, I mean, these are 100-year-old brick buildings. They are not designed to be beside this kind of machinery. We've lived here 10 years. In the past 3 months, we've had to have our architect come 3 times. They might have to take the floor and the ceiling out to check the joust to make sure that it's still sturdy. Our kids are sitting upstairs with things on their desks actually shaking during the day. And also, we are woken at between 5:45 and 6 a.m. every single morning with incessant beeping. I'm a musician. I can no longer work at home. I've had people on Zoom calls ask me repeatedly to turn off my alarm clock because the beeping is so loud. It's very destructive to anyone with ADHD or any kind of focus challenges. Having that beeping is absolutely detrimental to their mental health.
That's right.
I have cracks in my wall.
That's true.
And I'm having to put a camera on my roof at 1:45 because they want to come and put a camera up and they can watch what they're doing.
The other thing is somebody is going to get hurt or killed at this intersection. I have tens of videos of trucks pulling out, and to be clear, I think we can all say no one is mad at the people that are earning their living here. Everyone has a right to earn a living. It is not fair that they have to pull out into the bike lane Bikes are slamming on their brakes all the time. They basically have to go through red lights. There's huge trucks that block the entire intersection. As everyone said, the traffic's bad enough. I've had 2 upper respiratory infections in the last 4 months, having never had one in the previous 47 years. She's had bronchitis for the last 2 months, having never had bronchitis in her entire life. May be part of it, may not, but we shouldn't be the ones that are having to guess and wonder about this.
That's right.
We're getting to the end of our program, and I'd like to invite Community Board 6th Chair Mike Graciopo.
Mike!
Shahana's one of the people that actually got my name pronunciation right, like out of the gate, so I appreciate that. Mike Graciopo, Community Board 6. I won't speak long because I think everybody said what, and the sentiment is shared. This is one of those rare issues where the community is really, like, you know, some people say the community and it means like, oh, it implies that everybody's on board and on the same page. But this is one of the ones where it actually is 100%. Like, I've not heard there's not even anything in the margin of error, or whatever you call that. So, and I don't really do this, but I would like to lead the chant once if I have a chance here. So it's, what do we want? Shut it down. And that's it. And also, I'd like to say it's great to have some of our members from the community here as well, not just me, but also Arif is here. I know he's a new member who lives on Tiffany Place, so it's great. Obviously, it's a bad thing that's happening, but it is great to see the community organized so quickly and so unified. Yeah.
Fighting for camera angles.
And finally, I'd like to invite Brendan Caramonte.
Brendan! Where's Brendan?
Hello, my name is Brendan. I'm here, just like everyone else is, to complain about the sound and the dust and the noise and everything that's happening here. I live across the street over here, and I don't think I've slept through a whole week without being woken up in the middle of the night by the beeping of the trucks, the honking of the trucks. Every single time one of these dump trucks enters here, they honk the horn. And I get it's a safety honk, but it's so loud, it makes me jump sometimes, and I'm really tired of it. I'm sick of it. And I think this just needs to be shut down immediately. And not only needs to be shut down, they need to shut up. So I'm sick of it. You know? I've also witnessed safety issues here. I've seen so many times where bikes almost run into the dump trucks, run into all these big 18-wheelers, and it's just getting out of hand. And eventually something's going to happen, and I'm going to feel really bad for the guy that's driving the DOT truck that is doing his best to come out safely, and somebody on a bike does not see him and runs into him. And that's just going to be a shame.
That's right.
I mean, I say shut it down and shut it up.
Shut it down! Shut it down! Shut it down! Shut it down! Shut it down!
Shut it down! Shut it down! Well, it seemed like folks wanted to say shut it up. Yeah. So I'll say shut it down, shut it up. Shut it down!
Shut it up!
Shut it down!
Shut it down!
Shut it down!
Shut it down!
What do we do?
Shut it up.
Thank you. So the message is clear, enough is enough. This facility needs to be shut down. Immediately after this press conference, we're sending a letter signed by Congressmember Goldman, Senator Goddardis, Assemblymember Simon, myself, and Chair Mike Graciopo from CB6, demanding that this facility be shut down, and at the latest, by the end of this year. We need this facility to shut down.
That's right.
Once that letter gets sent, we will share with the community. And what I'm going to urge you all to keep doing is pushing us. We need your support in pushing us to shut this facility down. This has caused so much chaos, health concerns, the traffic, the noise, the vibrations. This is wrong. This is wrong. That's right. That's right.
How do we share documentation? What's the best way to share documentation?
of the footage that you've taken. You can feel free to, if there's a Google folder that everything's being uploaded, kindly, collaboratively to the Department of Transportation. They have not taken this seriously. So we're going right up to the largest
Adams.
bureaucrat, Mayor Adams.
Talk to Adams. He can sign it and shut it down tomorrow.
I don't want to answer that particular question because it's not my area of law.
Talk to the boss.
I mentioned to you a moment ago, and that is that when Atlantic Yards was being deconstructed, they were knocking down all sorts of buildings and whatnot. One of the things we did was we set up a camera that ran all day and all night, and every couple of minutes took a shot. And it was very effective because we could really show not only what they were doing, but how they were doing it. And we literally filmed, because we used to say this, workers coming and moving the no parking signs back and forth, taking them out of the ground and throwing them to the side so they could park, right? So you don't even know what it is you don't know yet. And if you can set up some strategic cameras and have them be continuously running and feed it, we were doing this online. Was streaming it online so that it was available for everybody. It's a suggestion, and I'm certainly happy to connect you to people who are the people who had their cameras on. So just in case that's helpful.
Do you have any questions
Thank
from the
you.
press?
Yeah, so I was stuck in traffic, so if it works out for everybody.
Really? Traffic.
Traffic, terrible.
What a surprise.
Right?
Welcome to our
It's a huge-
neighborhood.
Okay, so if you could point out some key elements or key points again, or summarize what was talked about for me, that'd be great.
The key point is this concrete recycling facility needs to shut down.
Right, yes. I understand that. How long has it been here in the community?
Since February, and the local electeds here have taken several measures. Site visit, a joint letter in September, and now enough is enough. They have assured us that they are taking our demands seriously, but they're not taking any action. So right after this, we're talking to the mayor. We're going right up to the mayor to say that this needs to be shut down. This public health crisis is unacceptable.
When the wind blows,
Do you mind taking the...
This is a neighbor here showing me his video. Look at this video. Look at all that dust flying through the air. Look at this. See that?
so when the wind blows, and it's been so dry, as many of the speakers said, the wind is blowing, and this dust is toxic dust from concrete that's taken out of buildings and roadways and chopped up here, is flying around the neighborhood, coating the cars, the houses, the lungs of the people who live here. And so the call is for clean air, a safe environment. There's also street traffic and safety issues. So this is a real health and safety concern. And the community, as well as the elected officials, are calling for the city to shut it down.
One thing I wanted to just add, let me just add one thing, and that is, not only is it blowing in the very immediate vicinity, but it's been blowing as far away as PS 29, which is on Henry Street on the other side of the highway. So it's quite a distance that this is affecting people.
Oh, that's okay. I think it'll pick it up. Thank you. Yeah, that's a good idea. Thank you.
Any other questions from the press?
Yes.
Go ahead.
This was supposed to be a temporary facility.
That's right,
correct?
allegedly.
And allegedly, yes. And so, have they told you that they plan on moving it somewhere else? Have they given any idea?
Well, since we started to push them for the relocation, they have said that they're looking for a site. But to no avail. They need to speed it up. So the letter that we're sending outlines that at the latest, it has to be the end of this year.
And sorry, it's another follow-up question. Were you guys consulted when they decided to temporarily?
No. Right.
No notice.
When this facility popped up, that's when we all learned about it. There was no early notification or warning given to the elected officials, which is very disrespectful. The businesses, and of course the broader community of neighbors here.
I heard this relocated here as a part of the land swap with the
No. We'll just stay on topic for the press, and then we will wrap up. And if there are any other questions, let's do it after the rally.
Is it true that this was stationed in Sunset Park and moved here?
Yeah. Right.
Have you guys talked to anyone in Sunset Park on how they handled it and what they went through?
My understanding is that there is a wind turbine project that is taking place. That is the reason why this work relocated to Columbia Waterfront.
And when they do move, how much energy are you going to put into making sure they don't go to another neighborhood that has the same problem?
That's our demand. That is a part of the demand. We do not want any community facing the detrimental impacts of the facility. This is not just about Columbia Waterfront. It is about every single New Yorker. No one deserves this. Thank you all for joining us. If you'd like to stick around, we'll be here. Some of the electeds will continue to stay. Our staff members are here too. Thank you.
Are you still recording? I'm sorry. Are you channel 2?
Was that?
You channel 2?
Am I what? Channel 2, yes, channel 2.
And here.
Take a picture. Tag Mayor Adams. Thank you.
What outlet are you from? Where would this stuff show up?
For a class, but my professor is working
All right.
African college.
Oh, nice. And what outlet are you with? What is it?
We'd like to take one group photo with all the neighbors. Whoever would like to join the photo. Oh, baby, we're gonna move out of the tent so that
I want to move up forward.
move forward.
Because then you can see people.
This is everybody that lives on the block. This is a picture of people that live on the block.
Everyone else, you're from the community.
Yeah, short people in front.
You take a sign. I'll be in there. I gotta get through. I was just having to be here. You guys moved up to me. I was just here. What are you running? It's not for me.
Okay, I was looking to get short people up front.
Right here. Thank you.
Sorry, my block.
Tells the whole story.
If you're in the front row, you might want to try to jump a little. I'm really sorry. We just can't see anyone.
Am I blocking you, John?
Shut it down!